how did you begin solving number 1? What did you do first? You subtract 25, right? And you have this. And before I even do the next step, I have this obnoxious exercise I'm going to put you through right now, okay? You will survive. You're in partner pairs, right? You're going to be, the people on the left are going to be A's, and the people on your right are going to be B's. So it's A's, B's, A's, B's, A, B, A, B. If you don't have a partner, move to get one just real fast. You don't have to move your stuff. Just get yourself a partner, and then we're odd, so just face the people behind you. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. First, and this is not the obnoxious part, it's just the regular normal part. Tell each other your names. Just introduce yourselves to each other. Good? Okay. Now here's what you're going to do. The A's are going to turn to the B's and say exactly the words that are about to come out of my mouth, okay? The words are no distributive property on absolute value. Tell them. Tell them. All right. Good. B's, look at your A's, and you know what you're going to say? The exact same thing. Say it. No distributive property on absolute values. Okay. And then y'all have a C group. C, tell your group. Did you tell them? No distributive property on absolute values. Thank you so much for your patience. You may return to your seats if you move. So what am I not, having done all that, I told you you would survive. See, it wasn't that bad. Having done all that, please tell me what I am not going to do here. The what? Distribute the 4. We're not going to do that, right? And the reason why we went through that exercise is because an alarmingly high number of you on your quiz last week, there was some problem that you had to simplify, something like, I don't know what. This, guess what y'all did? Distributed the negative, right? The distributive does not apply when the absolute value is here, because remember that value inside could be a positive or a negative. And so you can't distribute. What you have to do instead is simplify this whole thing down and then bring your negative the last step, okay? And we'll talk about more of that when we go over your quizzes tomorrow. So here, having said all that, so back to the problem at hand. So I'm not distributing the 4. What am I going to do instead? Divide, right? And this is the step that we call isolating the absolute value. And right here is where we ask ourselves the question, is that absolute value equal to a negative number right now? No. What if it was a negative number? What would I do here? Empty set, right? I would say there's no solution because the absolute value can't equal a negative. And I have some people get kind of stuck here and they say, but we don't even know what x is yet. How are we going to know that it's not equal to a negative number? It doesn't matter what. You can pick any number for x that you could put in there. Any number. Let's say you put 24. 24 minus 3, you would do that math, you'd get 21. When you take the absolute value of no matter what is in here, it's going to be a positive number, no matter what is inside. Even if it was, so the only 2 things that could possibly work here are negative 7 and positive 7, right? And that's why we set up these 2 equations where I say you need a positive version and a negative version. Where one you have positive 7 for the constant and one with a negative 7. How do I change the stuff inside the bars? You don't. You do not change them. Don't force it. It's not something that I taught you. It feels like everything should be changing, but it's not. You just drop the bars, keep it the same, and then another version where you drop the bars, keep the inside the same, and make the 7 negative. Okay, so it's only the constant on the right-hand side that is changing on your negative version. Okay. And then from here, you just have these 2 baby equations to solve. You add 3 to both sides, and you get 10 or negative 4. You can leave it like this. If your problem says write it in set notation, that gets squiggles. What questions do you have about that one? What'd you get for the second one? Empty set, right? No solution. There is something I want to point out over here, though. So you subtract the 9 from both sides. Math, math, math. Okay. If you stopped right here and said no solution, you got the right answer kind of on accident, though, because this isn't the right step to answer that question. What do I still need to do before I ask myself that question? Divide by 3. Now, in this particular case, it doesn't really change anything because I still get a negative number over here and say, oh, okay, that's the empty set because absolute value is never negative. However, if it had been the case that the 3 in front was negative, so if I had this instead, so everything the same, but I'm making the 3 on the left negative. Let's say right here you said, oh, that number on the right's negative, it's an empty set. Now you would get the wrong answer because what you have to do is the one more step where you divide by negative 3. You have to completely isolate the absolute value all by itself. And in this case, you'd get positive 1 on the right, and you can do that math, right? You don't stop right there. In that case, you keep on and you make your 2 equations, and you get your 2 answers. So be careful. Any last minute freak out questions before we take our skill check? I'm so out of breath today, I don't even know. All right.